Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Chicago Business Review. I am Young Lee, your host, and I am so excited to bring on this week's guest. He is an amazing entrepreneur in the city of Chicago. Thad Wong, we are bringing on this week. He is the co-founder and co-CEO of At Properties with his business partner, Mike Golden. They started At Properties in 2000 and have grown it to the 10th largest real estate brokerage by sales volume in that short period of time. That also is married to an amazing real estate professional and is the father of 4 beautiful children. I don't know how he does it all, but we are going to ask him in this episode. So please do me a favor and welcome our guest here this week, Thad Wong. Hey,
Thank
Thad.
you, Young. Thank you.
Oh,
That
my
was
goodness.
one of the better introductions I've ever had. That was beautiful. I hope I can live up to your
Oh,
expectations.
man, you like I was telling you before we started recording, you are one of the people that I look up to because I'm a big proponent of mentors and coaches and just having goals in life. And so seeing you as a father of 4 like myself, and then a successful entrepreneur, I've always admired you from afar, and now I get to work with you, and it's been nothing but an honor. So I'm so glad to have you on. So the first question I wanted to ask you is At Properties. So you guys started it in 2000. How did you guys come up with the name?
So it's funny, it was in '99, and it was the beginning. We were right almost in the heart of the tech boom. Everyone was getting email and receiving more emails frequently, and email was becoming a big part of your life at that point. And we didn't have a lot of money when we were starting the company, so I wanted to come up with a name that was kind of a mnemonic device, something that we could play off of another symbol where we would get immediate marketing. So I came up with the @ sign because I thought if everybody thought of at thought of us in real estate every time they hit the @ sign, that would probably be the least expensive form of marketing we'd ever create in our life. So at first it started out as at home properties, and then we finalized At Properties. And actually, when I was going down an escalator in Bloomingdale's in '99, there was this giant Christmas tree, and it had at signs on all of the ornaments, and that was the confirmation to me that the at sign would be a part of our logo and a part of the name of our company.
That's incredible, man. I always thought that was such a genius name for a real estate company. And so kudos to you guys on that. And another big thing that you guys do is the love symbol. And how did that come about? When did that come about? I know it's so entrenched in the culture of the company now, but how did that come about?
So I'm a big believer in minimalist marketing. That's probably because the red at, I'm attracted to a lot of white space, and I like the way images look, and they become more bold when there is a lot of white space behind them. And I was in a meeting with Natasha, and I said, I want to come up with a marketing campaign on a single word that everyone will love. And I was like, oh. So it became love. And that was great because it's a big part of our culture, and we knew it would add to our culture. In real estate, it involves a lot of relationships and allows a lot of communication, oftentimes through negotiation at high numbers. And so that often can create and develop anxiety. So we can incorporate some love into that culture that we perpetuate. We feel that that will only make our industry locally and our market a little bit more smooth if we can remember that. And if you're going to identify with any single word, I don't know another word that you would want to identify with. I don't know of another word as meaningful than love. So we hired Matthew Hoffman to use his font that he has trademarked, and then we purchased that. So we actually own his font and our logo and that word, and we look forward to spreading the love in as many markets as we can. It's awesome because not a day goes by when I don't drive by a car with a love magnet on it, and that feels great.
It is incredible, and it's such a simple idea, and yet it is so powerful. And what you just said there too about like seeing the magnets on the cars and things like that, that is a testament to the amazing culture that you guys have built at this company over these 20 years. Uh, what do you think was like the biggest driving force to build a culture like that? Because I feel like in order for an organization to grow, you have to have that strong culture. Like, when did that come about? Was that like something that you and Mike talked about when starting the company, or was that something that you guys had to figure out along the way?
I think our culture is a byproduct of our natural value structure and who we are as human beings and the similarities that we have in the most important parts of being a person. So if you know Mike and you know me, you know we're about as opposite as you could possibly get, right? You don't think if you go out for dinner, you'll probably not run into us at the same restaurants. You'll never run into us at the same clubs or the same concerts. Everything about who we are is very different. We wouldn't have been friends in high school, which has been, in a lot of ways, secrets to our success is being able to value in the other person more than what you value in yourself. And I think that part of the humility and the appreciation is essential in a partnership. Usually, partnerships dissolve because one person feels they're more valuable than the other, which in reality, one person can't do what they want to do or what they're good at without the other. So, and how that transferred into our culture, because we both sold, I think that was one of the biggest differentiators between us and our competitors. We sold even after we started at properties. We sold real estate. We blew up balloons. We hosted open house signs. There's nothing that we ask an agent to do today that we didn't do, aside from new things involving technology that weren't around when we were selling. So, because we understand the challenges and difficulties of being an agent and also the reward and the prosperities and the opportunity, I think we can empathize better with our culture and our community. And that gives us an ability to communicate in a way that develops an acceptance and tolerance of one another and patience. And so when we started real estate, we knew developing our relationships and our reputation was crucial for the success. This is before at properties, just when we were selling, it was crucial to our success because the more real estate we sold, the more we relied on other agents to consummate deals. And so our reputation was very important to us. And we always over serviced all of the other agents in a transaction. Back then we were making copies of physical contracts. We always made multiple copies, put them in beautiful folders for the appraiser, for the lender, for the buyer, for the agent. So we'd give them a big stack of everything in beautiful copies with beautiful folders. We made it as easy as possible on whomever it is we were working with. So I think that mentality where really wanting to have the best relationships possible in order to grow. There's an end result in culture, right? It's the opportunity to grow and succeed. And that's the bonus about it is that if you create a culture, it also makes enjoyment. It also brings enjoyment day to day into the business place, which yields even greater success. So when people and companies poo poo a lot of the effort that we put into communication, valuing the individual agent, celebrating success, acknowledging success, putting a close down on negative behavior and negative treatment and calling it out and making sure that it's stopped and protecting our agents and being there for them. I think that builds a culture of trust and appreciation. So the agents appreciate the amount of effort we put into appreciating them. And that just creates more love and keeps the wheel spinning faster and allows us to continue to grow. It also acts as a magnet because people want to be a part of that. Everyone wants to be valued and recognized no matter what they're doing, if they're doing 1 million or 100 million. And I think we lose sight of that, is that some of the agents doing 1 million are fabulous people and they can account for 2, 3, 4 deals a year for other agents, and they can be incredible participants in this world of real estate transaction, residential, and acknowledging them is as important, in my opinion, as acknowledging the $100 million producer.
That's incredible. There were so many great nuggets in there about the partnership, and then, but like, really the acknowledgement that you guys do give to the agents that work for you guys is second to none. I feel like the fact that you guys have had the experience, but like you're always acknowledging, you're always trying to give, you're always, even like during this pandemic time, I was talking to people in the office about the incredible leadership that you guys have shown during that time, with Mike sending out emails almost daily, giving advice, not only in terms of how to improve your business, but how to get through this period of time, whether it's helping out with filing for different benefits or things of that nature. But like, it really shows during hard times what good leadership is. And I just wanted to commend you guys for demonstrating that once again. And I know I had heard you talk once at a Technori conference, I believe, and you guys were talking about how when the last real estate market crashed, you guys became more aggressive and you invested more into like helping brokers succeed versus like cutting back your budget or cutting staff. And do you feel like that has helped you guys grow as well? Like just constantly looking to improve the agent experience?
Yeah, 100%. There are two things. One, when I sold, I always wanted to have the best product, right? There is an element of pride when you're selling real estate. And if another company has a better sign, or another company has a better brochure, or they have a better digital presentation of the home, that's embarrassing, right? If you
Hmm.
know your client can hire somebody else and receive a better product, maybe they'll receive a different agent, and maybe that agent will not be as good as you are individually. But the physical things that anybody and everybody can have, right? The special part of being an agent is who you are as an individual and what you bring to the table. Your ability to negotiate, your ability to sell during showings, whatever your personal value proposition. That's unique and that's innate to you.
Hmm.
But there are things that are standardized, right? The brochure, how about a floor plan, a video, the sign, an individual website. So those pieces to me were always crucial to have in order to stand out. I never wanted to be embarrassed because somebody else had a better sign or because somebody else had a better brochure. I never wanted a seller to say to me, well, why can't you do this, and have some other company doing it? So that was, a very big piece of it. Um, and when you talked about earlier about Mike and those emails, there's an authenticity of care. Like when COVID happened, we were very nervous. We thought a lot of our agents were going to go broke. And that's what we went through in the Great Recession. I can't tell you the number of conversations I had with people on how to prevent their home from being foreclosed on, and how they were trying to save, and the relationship anxieties that came from it. So we treated COVID the same way that we treated the Great Recession, as a sense of being prepared. So although those emails were lengthy and they were daily, that showed people exactly how important they were to Mike, right? And then
Yeah.
what I also saw from COVID, and what I've learned from a lot of companies and talking with them, is a lot of companies did what they called right sizing during COVID. It made a great excuse to let go of a lot of staff, right? And reduce your fixed costs. So the majority of companies out there let go of a lot of staff when COVID hit because it gave you a great excuse, right?
Yeah.
And they reduced their services to become more profitable because of the margin squeeze that's gone on the last couple of years. And I think that'll be their Achilles heel, in the sense that that doesn't allow you to grow. When you reduce your staff to the point where you're only staffed in order to service today's demand, and you're not staffed for growth, then you're going to fall behind. So I think what I saw companies doing that, I thought this would be a great opportunity. And so we accelerated. I was at home. And so that was unique for me. And so I was able to come up with a lot of new ideas, and I was able to do a lot of research on what was being offered there throughout the country, what companies were doing well, what they weren't, and where we could increase our value proposition as a company so our agents can distribute that to the consumer and be more competitive. So, we kept everybody and continued hiring, especially in marketing and engineering. So what we're rolling out now for the end of this year and the beginning of first quarter of next year for Spring Market 21 is more physical and digital than we've ever rolled out in the history of the company. And I don't
Wow.
see anybody else doing that as a company, because I think that they use COVID as an excuse to reduce their staff to generate greater profit. And so a lot of companies are having big revenue years, right? They collected a big PPP check or a big, I can't remember the name of it, the check, stimulus check. And
Mhm.
they also simultaneously reduced or didn't increase staffing. So they're kind of looking at it in a very finite place, like this year, how much money did we make? Instead of looking forward to increased market share and growth, which we are solely focused on increasing market share, increasing the consumer's experience. Right now, there's a lot of focus on the agent only, right? If you come over and work for my company, I'll give you X. That's the common theme. Never in that conversation is, if you come over to my company or if you come over to this company, I'm going to increase your customer's experience by giving you this. It's all about the agent. And I think that's where the biggest miss is right now. Because if it's not about the consumer at the end of the day, and if we're not increasing the value proposition that we offer to the consumer, how can we charge the same fee year after year?
Yeah, no, that's been one of my biggest takeaways with watching you guys as leaders of this company is just always investing in the people that you're serving, whether it's the brokers or the end consumer. You guys are always trying to improve the process, always get better, always serve them better. And I know you've done a lot in terms of the at platform that is the in-house technology that is literally second to none. I'm a part of a coaching organization and I meet top agents from all across the country and the world, and we're always comparing notes and or technology, and literally every time I show them our stuff, they're just blown away. And I'm like, before I told them, unfortunately, you're not in the Chicago market, so you can't be a part of it. But you guys recently announced that you guys will be franchising. And so now other people in other markets will have this opportunity to have this platform. I know you spent a lot of time and effort into building it. How do you stay motivated to continually grow and improve, even though you've had this incredible level of success so far?
Well, I think that's the obligation, right? We all sign up for different relationships in life, and there's an obligation that goes along with that. And how well you fill that obligation is your own personal success measure, right? I mean, if we're able to follow through with the obligation that we made to the best of our ability and provide an experience with the other person, because obligations are usually to people, and even if it's with a company, it's to the people who work for that company. That's my obligation. My obligation is to our agents. And so when you talk about staying motivated, I don't know what there would be something to get more motivated for. I mean, maybe to get some tickets to a sporting events when they open them up. That would be kind of pretty cool because I'm really longing for like a Bears
Oh
game.
man. Yeah.
But aside from family obligation, which is love and which is relationship and longevity, um, you know, for me, work is the second most important thing, and the obligation of work and pride. And my dad gave me 12 things to remember in 1994. He wrote this to me, uh, and part of it is the pleasure of working. That was number three, and number four was the success of perseverance, right? Effort.
Mm-hmm.
And the fifth was the improvement of talent. And then it goes on through all of them: the wisdom of economy, the influence of example, the power of kindness, the virtue of patience, the joy of creating. All of those things involve who you are incorporated within your work, right? You have your personal and you have your work. And work is important to me. And I love the relationships I've developed in work. I know a lot of the agents. I care about them, even if I don't know them. I want them to succeed. So like being motivated, that's like easy. I don't
Huh.
i don't i don't know how. Like if you have a commitment to people, to do your best, um, and you don't hate what you do, right? I guess that's
Mm.
one piece of it. You have to love what you do, which I love that. And I've been afforded the pleasure of doing so many different things now. I got into real estate to not get bored, because couldn't stand on a line and do the same thing over and over, or I couldn't sell the same pen every day, and I wanted relationship. And so I'm now afforded to do a lot. I work hand in hand with Natasha in marketing, coming up with the creative, and I'm able to have the pleasure of watching her grow and develop. And we had a big announcement. She's just become our chief marketing officer, and that's been
Yes.
fabulous. So I have the pleasure of working with her and doing the creative. I had the pleasure of really coming up with a lot of the technology innovation until I got superseded by Joni Meyerowitz, who's like a brainiac,
Yeah.
complete nerd. She's our nerd, and she's awesome. And she had the genius of the integration process of developing platform. That wasn't me. That was Joni Meyerowitz. That was Joni figuring out. We might have had the ideas and wanting to do something, but wanting to do something and being the actual person who does it is a different thing. So I don't take credit for any of that because, we might be the company in which it was developed underneath, but the people who actually did the work deserve that credit. So I've had the pleasure of being able to evolve in technology as well. And then also to build a training and coaching division with Kevin and now with Amy. That helps our culture by improving the agents and to give them a better opportunity to succeed, allows them to feel better about themselves. And that if in turn, if we're helping them with that, that helps our culture. So I've been given the fortunate opportunity to focus on so many different facets of the company that there's nothing I'm really not involved in. And that's allowed me to excel as a person and try to test myself and how to learn new things and stay and not get bored. So I'm not bored, and I really love what I do. And it's an obligation that I look forward to succeeding in every day. Um, Even when I make a mistake, I'm not afraid of that, but I don't struggle with being motivated for work.
Mm.
I'm competitive. I like to look at the numbers. I believe in math. Anybody can say what they want, but math wins. And, I like that. I just like what I do. I've never, even when I've never not wanted to go to work, and also,
Hmm.
but I think that's primarily because I love who I work with too. So when I show up at work, there's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of jokes, there's a long history, and a lot of relationships. And it's providing opportunity. We have a couple hundred salaried employees. We have people working here that make more than they ever thought they would make in their lives. They have the opportunity to do better, creating value for people personally and also financially for them to raise a family. That's incredibly gratifying.
Yeah, I am one of those people that have the benefit because of all the thoughtfulness of you and Mike and all of the people that you mentioned providing these opportunities for us to create a better life. And so I just very appreciative of you guys because I had my own brokerage for 10 years and I went to a different brokerage and I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. And the value that you guys provide and just the culture, like all of it is exactly the way a business should be run. And even as you were talking there, the whole time you're giving acknowledgement to the other people that have helped or contributed throughout the process, which just is another testament of your great leadership. So kudos to you on that.
Thank
And
you.
then you were mentioning the coaching as well. Like I am a firm believer in coaching, trying to get better each and every day. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast was to put that information out there for people that are looking to grow and improve. But you guys implemented this coaching for all of the agents for free. I actually pay a hefty amount of money every month. And it's, I got to say, better than the coaching that I pay for. And yet you guys just provide it as a service for all of the brokers along with the amazing technology. And so it's just such an amazing place to work for. And I don't mean for this podcast to be a at properties love fest, but it really is. Like I've never seen an organization run so well and always innovating, always trying to grow. And it's a lot to do with your guys' leadership. How do you think you've improved as a leader? Like, do you feel like you were born to be a leader or
Well, I was
did you
born an
grow
only
into the role?
child. So when you're an only child, you're sometimes a friend of none. You're a
Yeah.
one-man gang. So that probably helped me. When you were talking earlier about providing training and coaching for free, what I was talking about earlier is that if the agent doesn't provide more to the consumer every year, something has to change. Their value becomes reduced because in a capital market, people are competing for the consumer and always providing more for the consumer. So if I'm going to ask the agent to provide more for the consumer every year, I'm required to provide more for the agent every year. So we have to come up with greater products, more products, better coaching, better marketing, whatever it is. We've got to continuously be improving it if we have the expectation that you are going to improve what you deliver to the consumer every year. As far as leadership, I don't know. That's such a funny thing. I don't really read any books on Leadership. I've never read any books
Really?
on it. I think that there's probably lots of different forms of leadership. I lead with relationship first. I feel that the closer the relationship, the more you can ask of someone, the more you can drive them, the more they want to succeed for you as well. There's mutual achievement. Um, and I think that leadership, the kind of the proof is in the pudding, right? If you've been successful at doing something for a long period of time, if you build the best product, if you provide the best service, whether it's a home inspection, whether it's being an agent, whether it's a stager, if you become the best at that craft, and then people look to you for guidance, then I think it's up to your personality. Do you have the personality that's going to be attractive to people in which they're willing to listen? Because you have to have some validity to the leadership. You have to have some understanding of the industry. You need to be well read when it comes to the industry and knowledgeable. That creates the authenticity of the leadership. You're the master of your craft. And then I think it has everything to do with, do you have the ability to empathize with others? Sometimes people become so successful that they remove themselves from the market, right? They become their
Mm.
own person that's providing a service or create an opportunity, and they're less approachable. But I think that those that, in my opinion, are able to stay right sized and stay grounded and remember what it was like to blow up the balloons and at the open house sign, and to close a buyer, and they remember what it's like to have an appraiser kill a deal and how frustrating that is, and to have the seller blame you that their home won't sell. The longer we remember how that feels, the more we can feel and empathize with the existing agent, which I think gives us greater leadership opportunity, because I think they're more willing to listen to us if they feel that we are connected with them and we at least have a memory of what they're going through, as opposed to disregarding the current state.
Yeah, no, you guys always demonstrate that in terms of looking at it through the lens of the broker and the consumer. And it's amazing to see after all of the success that you guys still stay that grounded and still remember those times. That's also pretty shocking to me that that you don't read books on leadership. It's just kind of ingrained in you. I know a big factor, and you mentioned it a little bit ago, is your father and how much he's had an impact on your life. Um, could you talk a little bit about that? Because I know he was an amazing man that instilled a lot in you, especially as an only child, how valuable that relationship was.
Yeah. That was the most powerful relationship in my life. My mom is my mom, and my mom is still here. And but my dad was my best friend. And so when you talk about leadership, when I think of the things that would be guiding principles on leadership, I think they're the same things as guiding principles on life, right?
Mhm.
How you treat people, your responsibility to care for those that can't care for themselves, the importance of humility and gratitude. Um, those are the elements, if you ask me, that are the foundation and the bind of my leadership. And all of those I learned from my father. So my dad was a big fan of me, but at the same time, he reminded me that I need to not surround myself with people that would constantly give me praise. And he would remind me of that, of just the need to remain right sized and to be humble in heart. And, like I can look everywhere. My dad's everywhere in my office, he's with me all the time. And he was a very compassionate person that was very loving. And if you knew my dad, you loved my dad. But at the same time, he was also very interesting. And, when my dad asked, "How are you?" You never got away with saying fine. He believed that you really didn't learn anything, or you didn't get to know anyone until the third or fourth question that you asked them. And so my dad was very big in asking the third or fourth question, which allowed him to have very close relationships. And I'd like to think that I learned that from him. I'd like to think that I'm able to continue in his footsteps, and I'm able to continue to have authentically close relationships with as many people as possible. And so, when it comes to leadership, I don't know. Some people say a lot of great things. Some people do a lot of great things. Mostly, I just want to be a great friend.
Yeah, that was very emotional for me as well, because you can see all of those things that you said about your father in the way that you live your life. And most people don't know, but my daughter had a head injury riding her bike, and that was a very trying and stressful time for me as a father who loves his daughter very much, and just not having that control. But you personally reached out to me, not as someone that works at the company, but as a genuinely concerned person, thinking about another human being and what they're going through. And that will always mean the world to me. But you guys showcase that every day, and people see that. People notice that. People, because it's not a show. You're not trying to do it for publicity or anything other than you genuinely care for the people that are in your life. And I'm honored to be one of those people. And yeah, so I don't even know where I'm going with that other than thank you for being you, because it does show. And all of the lessons that you were rattling off there that your father had shared with you, you're living it. And so it's such an encouragement to see a leader live their best self, as much as you are doing. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna tangent here because I'm getting a little emotional myself. But I guess in terms of other than your father, who do you think was a big factor in your life that impacted you? Because yes, we know, your father we just talked about, and then your mother, but other than your parents, who else do you feel like has had a profound impact in your life?
Obviously my wife, right? I mean, there's no person that you spend more time with, and the amount of cooperation that goes into being a parent. You have two different people with, probably in our case, two very different childhoods and two different ideas on upbringing, that we need to cooperate to make sure that each person has equal authority, right, at home. And
Yeah.
so being able to negotiate, and I guess the part that I've learned in, just shy of 20 years of marriage, is that, you know, similar to my business partner, like my relationship with Mike probably prepared me for marriage because it was a partnership. But over the times, I learned to not only value, but like the things I didn't like about my wife originally. Right. And so, like, in doing that, I learned how to become a better person, because instead of being in my world where I feel like my way of doing things is so fabulous and fantastic, come on my boat, it's the best place to ever sail. There are other boats that are going equally as fast, albeit with a different motor. And so at first, my wife's motor, which the aspects of her motor that were different from mine, I poo pooed, right? Not only did I poo poo them, I just didn't like them. And I voiced that. It was a constant conflict. And then I started to see after maybe a decade, which must have been way too long for her and totally unhealthy.
Yeah.
But I started to see how those ways of doing things were actually valuable. And then after raising children, I started to actually like those things that were different about us and appreciate them and defer to them and think that they were actually better than my way when it comes to raising children. So anybody that can change you, right? That's who you want to
Yeah.
be around, right? You want to be around because if you're going to change yourself, you're changing yourself for the better. Nobody hopefully is intentionally changing themselves for the worse. So if you're working on yourself continuously into becoming a better person, and I'm taking parts of her and injecting them into me so I can be a better person from my perspective, that means I'm valuing her a tremendous amount. And valuing her role in what she does. So I can't say that I was the greatest at that at the beginning. I was full of app properties. We were doing a lot of great things, and then when it came to raising children, I had a lot of empty. I had a lot of empty answers because I had never done that. I was raised from divorced parents. It was me and my mom. My mom did an awesome job, but I was an only child, extremely independent. So when it came to developing family, I had to lean on my wife a ton and rely on her. And she taught me a lot. And that I admire tremendously because a lot of the things you learn in family, acceptance and tolerance, right? Your family no
Hmm.
matter what.
Yeah.
And those things, if you can then transfer in your real life outside of family, makes you even better friend and more reliable and all the things you really want to be. So she helped me be a much better family member, a much better husband, a much better father. And I think when you talk about leadership at the beginning, all of those things add to one's ability to lead. But it's
Yeah.
funny
No.
that the things
Yeah.
that I appreciate the most, I might not even have liked 20 years ago.
That's for sure. And that's funny because yes, like I said, I'm a father of 4 children as well. And me and my wife are high school sweethearts, and we just celebrated our 17th wedding anniversary. But you realize like in the beginning, you're so different because yeah, you were raised differently, you were in different backgrounds, all of that, and you're butting heads because you're like, no, my way is right, my way is right. And then the time that things actually start working well is when you're like, let me try to understand the other person, how can I serve the other person? And it is not like, oh, I've heard this somewhere, it's like, how do you make a relationship work? Is it 50-50, 51-49, one way or the other? But it's not. It is 100% in service of the other person. And if both people feel that way, then that's when you're going to have the most successful relationships, whether it is family or marriage or business. And uh, I see that with you all the time in every interaction. You're always trying to serve the other person 100%. And I feel like that's been one of your biggest strengths, honestly, is that willingness to serve and give. And that's why, in 2009, you guys established At Gives, and you guys have supported so many great organizations. And even now, we're supporting Chance the Rapper's Social Works because it's such a timely organization and such a great thing. How did you guys decide to start that organization, and why the motivation to do so?
Well, Mike and I had always been, both very philanthropic. We both, sit on a number of boards and support a lot of non-for-profits, museums, charities, music, everything. And we had a lot of agents coming to us. Hey, will you contribute to this? Will you contribute to that? Can you support this? And we would always forward them and make contributions, and it wasn't organized. So we thought if we would organize it and centralize it around one major charity each year and or one major contribution and then have a number of others underneath it, it would make it far more, it would do a couple things. One, we would be more organized and so we'd be able to be more efficient. But two, we would be able to create another subset of app properties within app properties revolving around giving, right? And so that's another, when you talk about culture and culture development, knowing how fortunate we are, right? I mean, in this industry, you have a great opportunity to build a wonderful life. Well, a lot of people don't have that same opportunity. And so remembering about those while we are succeeding together is really important. So that allowed us to create the board for Act Gives Back, and it created a lot of initiatives. We built houses for Habitat. We've painted rooms in a women's shelter in Old Town. We've done so much. And so that reminds us all that there's a component to life called giving. My kids, when they were growing up, I bought them 3 mason jars for their money.
Uh-huh.
One was spend, one was save, one was share. And if anything, you know, I would want them on their shelf for more symbolic reasons. So in the future, when they're more responsible, they can remember saving and sharing are a component of, financial responsibility. Now, I mean, the share is empty. But
Uh,
hopefully they'll get there in the future. But, saving and sharing, those are two big parts of life, right?
yeah,
if
no,
you have
it's
the if you have the opportunity, I mean, if you are lucky enough to save and you are lucky enough to share, it's a great joy.
yeah, and I for some reason, and I'm sure there might be a better explanation to it somewhere, but every time I'm struggling, when I give more, I tend to receive more.
Oh yeah.
And yet we have this mentality of like, oh, I can't let go of this handful of sand because this is all the sand that I'm going to get. When in fact, like, there's a whole beach right behind you. There's like such abundance out there, but like, we're stuck in this mindset of like, oh, if I give, then I'm losing. Whereas you guys have built this culture of like, hey, you give more, you receive more. And then you living that as an example is just such an encouragement to
There's a
me
great
and to
little
so
thing to
many
do once
others.
in a while. When you see something that you would really like to buy for yourself, buy it for someone else.
Oh man, I
It's
don't
really
know if I
tough,
could
but
do
like you
that.
see a pair of shoes or a shirt
Uh-huh.
and you want that for yourself, you love it. It's kind of expensive, so you don't really want to justify spending that much on something for yourself. Buy it for someone else. It's
That's it.
incredibly joyful.
That would be incredible. I don't know
Don't
if
buy
I would find
two, so
joy.
you
I
get
don't
one
know if I
also,
would
but
find
just
joy.
buy one for
Exactly.
someone else.
That's how I was going to navigate around that suggestion, but I'm definitely going to try that. Although I enjoy my stuff, so that would be tough for me. Let's see, man. The time is flying by, and I want to be respectful of your time, but there's been so many great nuggets in terms of like just coming from an attitude of serving and being passionate about what you're doing and just everything being relational and how important that is, how important it is to build a strong culture. As you guys now expand at properties outside, I mean, I know you have already expanded in Michigan and Atlanta and some other markets, but now you guys are building on this initiative to franchise, which congratulations on that. There, how do you guys anticipate keeping the same type of like culture and or uh, just belief systems of the organization as you look to expand in other markets?
Those organizations are going to be operated by independent entrepreneurs. So I'd like to give them the tools. We have a long list of things that we do that establish culture through training, coaching, etc. But I bet they will be different. They're going to be
Mm-hmm.
their own app properties. They'll have an affiliation, and hopefully they'll be similar. But I think they'll have different leadership, so they'll be entitled to their own culture and their own way of doing things. I think the benefits of doing this for us locally, which is really awesome, is we create a new revenue stream to create the marketing and technology tools to service the agents here. And then they get distributed out. So I only think it makes us more competitive here locally in our markets. Lake Geneva, New Buffalo, Union
Well,
Pier, Michigan, St. Joe, Indiana. We're opening office in Cherville. These are all company-owned offices.
yeah.
So this is our primary focus. So what's cool is that we're building a lot more and faster here that'll make our agents far more competitive here elevating the consumer experience here so we can distribute it out. So that's the part that I'm the most excited about, because I can do more here faster. And then other companies will benefit outside of here, and we'll give them the playbook, but they'll be responsible for creating the team and calling the plays.
No, that totally makes sense. And just to clarify for people that might not know, so you guys are staying on board. You're still going to be running the company the way that it has been going. You're just adding another component on top of it.
Yeah,
Correct.
locally, nothing really changes. We brought in Chris Lim. We'll
Hmm.
bring in another franchise rep. They're going out there and building the relationships. We already built the play. Understand, we kind of been practicing for a few years. In Atlanta, we
Yeah.
integrated all
With
the
Ainsley. Yeah.
technology, right?
Yeah.
And so that worked. And so that we knew we could do that. Then with Nest, they had an infrastructure on franchising. So we were able to get an infrastructure and a strategy for franchising. So as like far as my efforts towards this, that has to do with talking with people in different markets over Zoom,
Hmm.
um, seeing if they're a good fit, what their needs are, if we can be helpful, uh, and but for the most part, it's more of a, I don't want to say it's a plug and play, but it is kind of a plug and play. We've developed really good systems and tools to what I feel is offering far more value from than our competitors. Our competitors, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, ERA, Sotheby's, Corcoran, Better Homes and Garden. I don't think that they're offering what we're offering, because we're offering, first of all, technology, which no other franchise is offering, integrated in-house technology. But that's technology and software. So we hire people to service the software in those markets. The second is marketing. Well, it's all the marketing here that's then repurposed with different imagery for different geographic locations. But again, that's more technology and imagery that's just dispersing the marketing that we're creating here locally. Training and coaching that content, we'll share the videos with Kevin and Amy that they're creating here, and some of the content that we integrate with Ninja. And for
Hmm.
culture, we've just documented everything we do culturally. Probably not everything, but 90% of the things we do in order to develop culture. And then growth, we have of growth on organic growth. So we have all the different things of internal messaging that revolves around creating a better magnet for our organic growth. So these companies are able to see what we're doing here, and then they'll implement it in their own way. And I think the greatest value is that there's no other brand where it's currently being operated by owner operators. So where if somebody's in Denver, if somebody's in Seattle, if somebody's in DC, somebody's in Los Angeles, or somebody's in Houston, and we're sending them what to do. It's not like we're sending them what to do because we haven't done it yet and we hope it works. We're
Hmm.
sending them what to do because we're currently doing it, and they can watch it, and they can watch our videos, they can watch how we're doing it. So it's very much a plug and play. And it gives the opportunity, it gives a framework that we believe in for other entrepreneurs to succeed. But I don't think, like when you ask, it was one of the things I struggled with, because I thought, how are these going to be exactly the same as Chicago? They're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
They're not. And they
Hmm.
can't be, right?
Yeah.
There's only one you,
Hmm.
there's only one me, there's only
Yep.
one Mike, there's only one
Yeah.
Joni, but there are people that do the same things that we do in different markets. And they'll have their own spin, and they'll have their own ideas, and they'll be able to apply those ideas to our template. And I hope the results will be very successful. I do want to incorporate the love campaign in every single franchise. That is super important to me, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And the celebration, and the commitment to the consumer, because as I explained earlier, that's what I think has been lost. All of the companies have been trying to figure out, how do we excite the agent to join our company? How do we give them
Yeah.
more? How do we, whatever it is?
Hmm.
And I think that that's a mistake, because agents are crucially important, but I think you're selling the agent short if you don't think the product the agents apply and receive from the company and distribute to the consumer is not the most important thing. Some agents
Yeah.
will go somewhere for a lower comp, let's say, or some cap model or whatever,
Hmm.
and try to do it all on their own. And they might like
Yeah.
what they do, or they might think it's competitive. But like I said, also, it's about the math. Are they more competitive? And you can tell, is this brochure as good as that brochure? Is this
Hmm.
sign as good as that sign? Is this listing presentation as good as that one? And if the answer is no, and you say, I'm okay with that, well, that means now you're putting yourself in front of the consumer, and that doesn't last.
Yeah, no, and that's why, like, having joined and like the attention to all the detail is really what's been most eye-opening to me. Like even the rolling out of the new signs, I can't even tell you how many people have commented about how amazing the new signs look. And I know how much thought you put into that as well. And so,
You can
but
thank
like,
COVID for that. That's being at home and trying to figure out how to do everything different. We actually are now testing out new reflective on the top bar, which I think will be an improvement.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, and you guys just keep trying to innovate and improve, and that's why you got, Inman's Innovator of the Year award, as well as so many other amazing accolades. But yes, you're so right. If it's not a benefit to the consumer, at the end of the day, you're failing. You're thinking too short-sighted in terms of the business, and the services that you guys provide in-house, the way you make it so easy and streamlined for any agent to succeed really is second to none, really. And then it therefore provides a better service to the consumer because it is so uniform. It is so easy to implement with the in-house everything, like the video that we have that we can provide for our clients, now the virtual tours that are a big proponent, the floor plans, all of it. And then the brochures, of course, looking incredible. Like when I go on these presentations, a lot of the consumers are like, wait, I get to keep this? This is actually for me? Like they're like, oh no, this is too fancy to leave. And I'm like, no, this is what we want to portray as well as provide to the consumer. So yeah, that's incredible. But I guess just to finish up, I know we've talked a lot about just at properties and the business and things of that nature. But if you don't mind me asking just a couple of questions, since I know you're from Minnesota, but you've lived here a majority of your life, what is like your favorite place to go, either on a date with your wife or a meal with your family here locally?
So meal with family is easy. Bavette's Steakhouse. It's not a classic steakhouse, but the ambiance inside, whether on the first floor or the lower level, they give you a lot of space. It's very dark and intimate. We do a lot of celebrating there as a family. My wife and I are big into movies, which now is like we're literally uh, we like because we can walk to three different movie theaters from our house. So it's
Uh-huh.
nice to walk to the theater and go to a movie and then walk home. Even
Uh-huh.
if it's cold out, we'll bundle up and go. And I miss that tremendously. But we
Yeah.
like to go a lot of movies, and so this morning, and I like to be active, and so this morning, she had to let a client into a house at 7 o'clock, or a painter, and so we got up at 6:30 and just went for an hour walk this morning in the neighborhood, and I love the city of Chicago. I grew up in Minneapolis, and Minneapolis is my mom is still in the same house we grew up in, and I haven't been able to get back there because of COVID. But in
Yeah.
Chicago, there's just something special about Chicago. I love running through the city. I go on long 10, 15-mile runs throughout the city, through multiple neighborhoods, through, Bucktown, Wicker Park, Ukrainian Village, West Loop, Pilsen, Chinatown, back up to
Wow.
the lake. And on an afternoon or an evening in the spring or fall or summer. And I love it. I love this city. And so I love the more I'm in this city with the people, makes me very happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's incredible that, yeah, you guys with 4 children still decided, you know what, we're going to stay in the city, we're going to support the city, and you guys are doing it great. So that's incredible. Um, let's
That part
see.
is not so bad though, and not so tough if you're selling a lot of real estate.
That's true. That part is true too. What is maybe something that people don't necessarily know about you? Because you're a fairly public figure, but what's maybe something that people would be like, huh, we didn't know that about that?
I smoke a lot of cigars.
Oh yeah? No way.
So
I
that's
did
that's
not
my
know
vice.
that.
And I
Interesting.
play a lot of backgammon. So even if you're my children, which a lot of times at night I'll be in the backyard bundled up, even if it's cold. Emily hates the
Uh-huh.
smell of cigars, and I'll
Yeah.
play backgammon with a friend online, and I'll be smoking a cigar, and that's my time. I really don't like to be interrupted. I like to focus on the game. I like to focus on the taste of the
Uh-huh.
cigar, and I really enjoy that. But unless you're with me or a close friend of mine, you probably don't know that I smoke a lot of cigars. If you
Wow.
come into my office,
Yes.
you can secretly see that there's
Uh,
3 humidors in here.
that's
So it's not a short
hilarious.
supply. And every
Yes.
cigar is counted in case someone comes in here and takes one.
That's also good to know for anybody that's watching. Don't try to snag one of those, although they got to be amazing. So, um,
Young, you can take one. It's okay.
I will definitely. I actually love smoking cigars too. My wife not a huge fan of it, and then the taste in your mouth the morning after, I don't love as much, but it's just such a relaxing and enjoyable way to spend an evening or bond with some friends and things of
Or a
that nature.
morning
So I
or an afternoon, depending
that
on whenever I have the opportunity.
that I haven't done. I haven't had a
I
morning
had a friend
cigar
ask
yet.
me once, "So what's your favorite cigar?" And he thought I was joking when I answered, and I thought of it, and I go, "The first one in the morning." And I wasn't joking because I was like, okay, when you have the opportunity, which is rare on
Uh-huh.
vacation, to have a cigar in the morning before you brush your teeth or anything, when your taste buds are the most sensitive because they've been dull all evening, they've been, nothing. The flavor and what you taste and the impact with a cup of coffee is priceless. It's as close to
Really?
God as
Huh?
you can get.
I'm gonna try that. No way. Next vacation. I'm taking a good cigar and I'm gonna try that out. I'll let you
Yeah,
know how that
it's
goes.
not for the
So
faint of heart, though.
yes, no, I would imagine that would not be. So, Thad, we're going on an hour. And like I said, I want to be respectful of your time. But thank you so much for coming on and for spending this hour with me. I feel like it was incredibly valuable for anyone that is looking to either grow a business or just trying they're on the process of getting to where they want to be. Just all the advice that you have imparted. And then, oh, actually, you know what? I wanted to ask you one more question. How
Sure.
did you guys come up with the amazing parties idea that you guys did and
Yeah, my
do?
mom celebrates everything to the max. So like if you go to our house on a birthday or Valentine's or Mother's Day, it's like insane. And so, celebrating people, I've been raised, I was an only child, so I was celebrated more than anybody in the world. So that idea of celebration and recognition, I mean, if you're going to work really, really hard, you got to be willing to recognize that effort and celebrate that success. And even if you don't have success, you got to be able to celebrate the effort. And
Hmm.
so being creative in celebrations has always been important to me. I never wanted to have a boring party. I wanted to have everything there. And in order to do that, because we have such a variety of people, we have to have a really strong variety of things to do at each party. So there's something for everyone. There's something for the dancer, there's something for the artist, there's something for the introvert, there's something for the foodie, there's something for the alcoholic, there's something for everybody. And now we're probably
that,
going to have a marijuana section. I don't drink or
hey,
smoke
hey, that's
anything but
right.
cigars, but if it's legal, we'll
It's
provide
right.
it.
Hey, no, those have been so epic and legendary, and even like the movie nights that you guys
Movie nights, I
have.
prefer. I like the
Yes,
movie
no,
nights because movies are
I love.
expensive and the cost of the popcorn and the candy. So it's nice to go to a movie and not have to pay for the ticket and have unlimited candy, popcorn, and soda. That to me is like
Oh
better than
my
any other
gosh.
party.
Yeah, that was like a dream when that happened. When the first movie event that I went with, and now we incorporate that too, is like client events, movie night,
They're great
because
client events.
yeah,
Also
they
takes the
are.
pressure off because everybody doesn't have to talk the whole time. You can talk for a
Exactly.
little bit, then go to the movie, say pleasantries, and go home.
I totally agree. I'm telling you, the best way to succeed is just copy your guys' playbook, because you guys do everything so well. You can ask my team. We're like, if it's good enough for Ad to do, then we're going to implement it, because everything you guys do not only is so well thought out, but the way you make people feel special, the way you guys celebrate wins, the way you acknowledge people is just such an incredible way to do business. My only sadness is that I didn't recognize it sooner in my career and join sooner, but I'm so excited to be a part of it. And so, and then I guess one other thing, since I have you, how did you guys decide the Rolex Club or awarding
when I graduated
people?
from college, my mom bought me a Cartier, and my mom is not rich, on the contrary. And so that was the most amazing gift I had been ever given in my life. And it was far beyond what you would expect my mother to give as a gift based on its cost, right? And education was a big deal in our family. Both my parents are PhDs. And so I was never an academic. And so just graduating high school, I thought was enough. And when I actually graduated undergraduate, and I think it took me 7 years, that was another celebration. So that made me feel so great when she gave me that watch, right? It made me feel so acknowledged and celebrated that I wanted to do the exact same thing for our agents. And I felt like it was $10 million for the first one we gave back in 2002. And it's still $10 million today. Because I feel like generating $250,000 of gross commission is a serious accomplishment. It doesn't matter if it's 20 years ago or if it's today. And so celebrating that and acknowledging that with someone with a permanent, timepiece that you probably wouldn't have bought for yourself is a nice way of acknowledging someone's personal achievement.
That's awesome. I have mine on right now because, and
some people don't get it as easy as you, Young.
Yeah, right. No, not only was it therefore like a huge motivating factor and goal, but it was such a great thing that you guys implement, and just amazing. Everything that you guys do, like I said, this almost sounds like just a Thad love fest by me, but it's because it's genuine. Like everything that you guys do, I admire so much. The way that you and Mike just constantly are giving. And my mentor says it to me as well. You get what you celebrate. So make sure you're celebrating and that you're actually present in the moment. So even with my team, I try to write this week's top 5 so that we acknowledge what we've done, what the agents have done on the team, because it's like, yeah, you get what you celebrate. And we know that there are lots of ups and downs in this business and it can be very stressful. But when you shift that mindset to, hey, we are doing great things, we are helping our clients, we are achieving things that we might not have thought we could achieve. It makes such a difference in their lives. And then it makes a difference in mine, because I am now focused on the good things that they're doing, the achievements that they're accomplishing. And so I feel like it's just beneficial for everyone. But again, that's from you guys on down is how this organization is run. And so I just wanted to credit you guys, because I would never have done something like that as a leader if it wasn't first done by you. So once again, thank you. I apologize for the extra questions, but those are things that I've been thinking about there for a little bit. So, and I know I can actually call you and ask you, but I'm glad we were able to provide that to the public. And yeah, once again, I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Chicago Business Review. Guys, if you guys liked this episode, please like, subscribe, comment. It means the world to us. And please, if you could show your acknowledgement for Thad and all the amazing things that he's doing, we would love to see that in the comments, and I'll make sure that I get you guys some @swag for some of the best reviews and comments that you guys leave. So once again, Thad Wong, co-founder and co-CEO of @Properties, and my name is Young Lee, and I am the host of Chicago Business Review. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in and watching, and we'll see you next time.